Welcome to the Rave Show. Good morning from beautiful Northern Virginia, where we talk about everything and anything about Desis or Indians in the USA. My name is jijunair, and this is my lovely co-host,
Soumya. Welcome to our Masaledar show, where I get to jump all over Jiju. Well, it's Holi, so happy Holi, everyone.
Happy Holi.
Yes. And also in March, my travels took me up north to the freezing state of Vermont.
Freezing.
It's so up north that you can go to Canada in just an hour.
I see.
From this place called Stowe, Vermont.
I see.
It's a tiny little mountain ski town, and you can pretty much count on 3 activities.
Okay.
Skiing,
All right.
snowboarding, and whiskey drinking.
I like that.
I knew it. Well, the other interesting part there was I did not see many Desis. So,
Okay.
Jiju,
You mean Indians, right?
Indians.
Okay. All right.
So, Jiju, the
Okay.
whiskey distillery hopefully entices you to
go
some
there?
new
Okay.
adventures. So, as you can see some pictures that Vigil has put up on the screen, you see some fun ski activities there that my family did. My son's a skier, so he loves that. And I, for one, for sure, enjoyed the whiskey distillery. Whistle Pig, that's a very famous rye whiskey owned by a Desi entrepreneur.
Oh, that is new.
That
so
is new.
Desi entrepreneur.
Yes.
He's distilling the whiskey there.
Exactly. So I was reading up about him. His name is Raj Bhakta, whose mom is Irish and dad is from Baroda, Gujarat. So I guess he has the whiskey and the business
Okay.
genes pretty strong. So pretty proud of that.
Nice to hear all those things.
Yes. Well, that was really the top of my mind event in March. What about you, Jiju? What's on top of your mind?
Wow, and what I'm hearing from you, it kind of put me in a different thought process. But the weather is getting better.
It is 70
and
degrees
it's getting
yesterday.
warmer, and sometimes it is hot.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, one day it snowed also, right? So just like we say that Virginia is a state of all seasons. But in one day, we saw all seasons, right? Warm, cold,
Yes.
and then colder and snow.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like a beautiful snapshot of Virginia in one day.
I'll help you come out of this. Virginia Soumya predicts in 2 weeks we'll have a more predictable weather.
12 months is what you said. 12 months of
That was
summer.
Miami.
Oh, okay, got it.
Here in Virginia, 2 more weeks. Hopefully, cherry blossoms will be here as well.
Very good.
And so,
Good to go.
looking at brighter, nicer outlooks.
Right. So apart from Virginia and Virginia Soumya, really, what is really in my mind is the war in Ukraine, right?
Yes.
We cannot avoid that. Now
Definitely.
it's a plight where a lot of hardships are being endured by Ukrainians, people in Ukraine, right? They've been displaced from their homes, and then they have to go to a new country and try to live a life that they are not sure of.
Exactly.
Uncertain future, right? That's kind of bad.
Exactly. In fact, when I was in Vermont, Vigil, if you can share that video, there was also a demonstration and some fundraising going on
I see.
for Ukraine.
I'll be over there, okay?
So the plight of Ukrainians by themselves is pretty bad.
Yes.
But at the same time, my thoughts are also with many Indians who are stuck in Ukraine.
Yes.
There are many students who are studying in Ukrainian institutions, and they are stuck in Ukraine. And I personally know certain people who cannot even come from where they reside to the airport. So once they reach the airport, they can get into some travel arrangement
Yes.
and go to India somehow, right? But now they're stuck in railway stations and they cannot move,
Yes.
right? And I want to call out to those people in the United States as well as anywhere else who's trying to help these students
Yes.
get out from one place to the other.
Exactly.
I'm sure you also might know a few people like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, lots of good support and relief
Okay.
efforts going on. So kudos to all those generosities that have been extended. I think one interesting idea I also heard about is a lot of people are paying to stay at Airbnb places in Ukraine, not really staying there, but they're purchasing it in hopes that it'll help the owners of those Airbnbs who are losing a lot of money on, nobody's traveling there.
It's a good idea.
But also they can use that income to host people who have been, who don't have homes or who are on the streets, to host them. So great relief support efforts going on. So really happy about that. Well, speaking of support, again, would love to say thanks to our wonderful, wonderful audience who've been commenting. Please feel free to send us your comments now or offline once the live show is done. And some really awesome suggestions they've been providing on our show. Love to, keep them coming, and really happy with all the efforts and support you provided.
So the comments are through YouTube and Facebook, right?
And Facebook. So two different options to watch.
Okay.
And well, speaking of some of the comments we got, I think people love the Sabyasachi piece that we talked about in our last episode.
And your fashion line, Satyasakshi. Nobody talked about it.
Satyasakshi, yes. Well, that got quite a bit of attention too.
Maybe you should start now.
I think Jiju's thinking about a business venture here, I guess.
Absolutely.
So that got quite a bit of traction. So that was lovely. And I know your favorite topic, cricket.
What was that? Oh, cricket.
Was certainly something big as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's going on in the cricket world these days?
Looks like I am the cricket expert in this show, right? Cricket is very much dear to me as well as many, many of my Desi friends here, right? So good things happens in cricket, but we had a loss in cricket, right? Shane Warne.
Shane Warne, that's right. Yes, I read that in the news.
You know Shane Warne. You don't follow, but
watching
it's a celebration of life for him. He always lived a full life, and one of the best leg spinners that ever was known in Test cricket. And even our Desi people love him because of his colorful character and the of course talent, right?
Yes.
I still remember the ball of the century where the ball turned from the leg stump and took the off stump of Mike Gatting. So leg stump, off stump, this is cricket terminology, right?
Okay.
So I'm sure my our Desi friends would love that. But at the same time, there was one more. It is not a sad news, but still, Srishant. Do you have heard of Srishant? Srishant is
Tell me more.
He used to be a fast bowler with the Indian cricket team, and I have much more connection with him because he's from Kerala. Right?
Oh, okay.
So that's there. Okay. But he announced his retirement at the age of 39 years old.
39?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was one
I
of
don't know, lucky.
Lucky for him. Okay. No, actually, he was one of the best fast bowlers that India has ever seen. One of the best. I mean, with a lot of other people. His seam position was so good when he was bowling. And there was one wicket that I still remember that he took off Jacques Kallis of South Africa. And Kallis did not even know what hit him, right? It's kind of like it just popped out like a cobra, like a spitting cobra off the pitch. And Jacques Kallis, he was blinded by that. And it became a catch and was one of the topmost, again, another ball of this century, if you can say, along with Shane Warne's. So those are the things that are happening in the...
Well, good for Srijit. I'm sure you...
Srishant.
See, I'm learning.
Yes.
My mind, when you said from Kerala and he's retiring, I was thinking of him on a houseboat somewhere, drinking toddy like you were.
Eating fish also.
Or eating fish.
You got the right image there, I would say.
Yes. Great. Well, keep those comments coming.
Absolutely.
Love to hear more ideas. And there's also a Discord app on the REVELAGiA Facebook page. There's a link to join Discord. So you can call in. There's an option to dial in to our show at the end of the conversation. We'll let you know that. So please keep those engagements
Please
happening.
call us. We are ready to take your calls.
Yes.
And it will be a fun conversation.
Fun conversations, absolutely. What else? March was also International Women's Day.
International Women's Day. Okay.
Yes.
So this is one thing I will say. Okay. This one day as an International Women's Day, it should not be the case. Every day of the year is an International Women's Day. Now, I hear that some men are trying to get a International Men's Day. They're proposing, but I don't think that is going anywhere.
That's a very good thought. Yeah, certainly every day could be International Women's Day, but what does that mean to you, Jiju?
International Women's Day?
Yeah, what would you do? What would you do to help women?
Well,
every day.
Every day? That's a very good question that you're asking.
Putting him on the spot a little bit.
International Women's Day for all of
To
us.
jump on him, see?
It's we all know that, right? I mean, everything that has been achieved over a past century. There's a lot of contribution
Yes.
from women, and it's a good thing to recognize. Even though I was joking about like days and International Women's Day per se, there's a lot of effort that we don't see that mankind has achieved. Now there's a effort going on to make it much more obvious to people,
Yes.
right? So some people ask me, why is there a day per se? There's an importance for it. Only if you call out, then you will start recognizing the amount of contributions women has put in for the advancement of anything, right? Humankind.
Great.
So that's how I see it.
Absolutely. So Jiju wants to celebrate women's achievements in
Women's
cricket,
achievement.
in technology, in all facets
Absolutely.
every day. So that's great.
Every day
Good
is
for
a
you,
Women's
Jiju.
Day. Every day is a Women's Day.
Well, on that note, maybe I should ask you this. Who do you think is the most interesting woman in March, if you've been following the news or what's going on in the world lately?
Soumya, you have a way.
Woman Desi, if I
Okay.
may add.
You have a way of putting me on the spot. I'm going to say my wife for sure, but
That's a start.
you know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not asking for that. So I think from this week onwards, we're looking at the most interesting Desi, and especially in this International Women's Day, we are saying interesting women also, right? So one thing I've heard is that there is a woman that we should celebrate. Her name is Kisbu.
Kisbu. Okay.
KIS. It sounds like a Khushbu, right?
Yeah.
Kisbu.
Yeah.
Now, why is she famous? It's because there is a story of Kisbu is, by the way, is a balloon seller in Kerala. right?
Balloon seller in Kerala.
So obviously
Okay.
that means that she's disadvantaged from a economical perspective.
Yes.
And sometimes maybe it could be socially disadvantaged too. But she's selling balloons, and there's a photographer in Kerala. He saw her, Arjun Krishnan, I believe, and took some pictures, and then had someone like a makeup artist or someone like that work with her to make her so beautiful.
Okay.
Now,
Wow, I'm seeing that
Oh,
on
you're
the
seeing
screen
that?
here. Wow, what a makeover.
So this
Balloon
kind of-
seller to a model.
Model, yes.
Yeah.
And a beautiful model though, right?
Yeah.
Now, why is it interesting? So superficially, yeah, she's beautiful. I mean, to start with, she's beautiful. And somebody did a makeover and she's more beautiful now as a model. But that is one part of it. Why is it this interesting is because...
He's getting into some interesting details.
Well, I
and
mean,
what's going on in
what
Jiju's
I know,
mind?
I don't know her personally, but the mere fact that she's, I believe, from North India, right? And she came to Kerala to sell balloons so that she can make some money and feed her family.
Sure.
So what we are celebrating today, the interesting Desi is not just about the superficial side of it, right? The effort, the sacrifice they have made to take care of their family. There could be kids, I don't know about it, but
Yes.
maybe she has kids or family that she has to take care of. And how do you do it? By selling balloons. How much money does it take? Right? How much money does it make, right?
Yes.
Not much.
Yes.
So that's why she's interesting. Beautiful, like a model, but the sacrifice that she has done to feed her family. I think that deserves a lot of kudos.
Yeah, and also I think kudos to the photographer to spot
Arjun
her,
Krishnan.
isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're bringing this point to the picture, right? I have seen some other makeovers also. Like there was a guy called Mamika in Kerala who was taken from the streets and put into a blazer and a suit and an iPad in hand, and he looks like a model. So what are these things doing is that the photographers who take these pictures and does this makeover, they are also getting some celebrity status. Right?
There's a hidden agenda here. That's smart to catch it.
Is there a hidden agenda? I don't know. It's a talent. It's something, right? So
something sensational.
so I mean, we celebrated Kisbu, right? And we are celebrating Mamika also.
Yes.
They're good people. They sacrificed or they're having hardships, but now they're popular.
Yes.
But at the same time, it kind of makes me thinking, are photographers going out and trying to get these kind of subjects so that they can become popular through social media? I mean, it's a thought. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. Hey, after all, we are talking about this on the Rave Show today.
Absolutely.
So that's working clearly.
Exactly. Kisbu, Arjun Krishnan, and Mamika, who will talk about it if they don't do it?
Yes.
So even though there may not be an agenda, so there is an active, something is going on where people are going behind these kind of models or would-be models and bringing them out.
Yes.
It's all positive though.
Yes, it's all positive and a great way to celebrate an interesting Desi woman in March for sure,
Absolutely.
Kisbu. So thanks for that. Thanks for that input. I put you on the spot a little bit, but he came out good.
It's always in my mind.
Well, that's certainly great to hear. And we were talking about Holi just earlier.
Happy Holi, Holi hai.
So, colorful guy like you, Jiju, with
Colourful
colorful
guy.
tastes and interests. What did you do for Holi? Any plans, or did you have any fun celebrations?
So Holi has been good for me. I've told you before, I think. My friend Divya actually introduced me to Holi. I think I mentioned that last week also. So Holi, this time is pandemic, and not many people are doing Holi celebrations to that extent, but I've seen some photographs and all. But I celebrated yesterday by going to an event, like concert. I don't know about you, but I think you might have also gone there. It's kind of like a Indian Idol 12,
Yes.
season 12, right?
Yes.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
Yes.
It was amazing performance,
Yes.
right? They're all blue.
Yes.
The
You were
performance-
there at the
I
Indian
was-
Idol?
No, I was not in that contest.
You were
But the
there.
concert was there.
See,
Good questions though. Anyway, so it was amazingly perfect.
Yeah.
The singing was so good,
Yeah.
right? It blew us out of the water. But talking about singing, right?
Yeah.
You know that we also like singing, like we are Desis here and we like singing.
Yes.
But not to that variety in a performance show or anything like that, or in an orchestral variety, but we like karaoke singing, right? And I've seen a lot of competition right there. So what I do is that, how do I get to the microphone and start singing, right? It is not that I'm a great singer, but I still need to show it off, right? So, but then I see that there's Asha Bhonsle's, Lata Mangeshkar's, Shreya Ghoshal's lined up there too. They're also there, right? So the best thing to do is get one of them and become a combination. Do it.
Yeah, that's
So when
always
you
fun.
so a Kishore Kumar, Asha Bhonsle combination is much more, enticing. So they say, oh, you are a duet, why don't you go ahead and sing?
Okay.
So instead of standing in a line, waiting for this long line to end, we get a pass up. So you go up and sing. So that's one of the strategies that you can adopt when you're in this kind of karaoke things, right?
But you need a few drinks to do that.
Well, I mean,
Think
you're
of
al-
yourself
you're
as
always-
Kishore Kumar, as you said.
Now the Asha Bhonsles and Lata Mangeshkar, they don't drink, but of course the Kishore Kumars and the Mohammad Rafis do. But again, the thing is that a lot of competition in karaoke singing.
Sure.
So what I do is that I have our own karaoke party. So I am the master of my own karaoke party. So I have the microphone, I have the karaoke machine, I have my own home, right? It's in my own home. So anybody who comes in had to listen to me singing.
Okay.
There is no line or anything like that. I get it and start singing, right? So that's one of the strategies that you can always adopt to be a karaoke singer, karaoke star. What usually happens in these parties is that there's always somebody who's a better singer
Sure.
than you, right? That's
Sure.
always the case. So since it's in your home, they don't get an opportunity immediately. So what these people do is that
Because Jiju's hogging up the mic.
I'm hogging up the mic. So what happens is that they come and adjust your karaoke machine. Hey, I will help you adjust this and all. In no time, you will see that they have started singing. And you'll be sitting in the sofa or the settee or the couch and drinking your alcohol, right? So don't let that happen. So my advice is, if somebody comes to you and helps you with a karaoke machine, keep them far away. Don't let them come towards you. That's one way of doing it.
Okay.
The issues with the karaoke party is that you want audiences to, people who don't sing, so they can listen to you and say wah wah, right? So you need to invite people who don't sing. The only way you can invite them is giving them drinks, giving them...
Loosen up a bit.
And then they will be like your groupies, right? They will enjoy and they'll say, oh, Jiju, you're doing great, right? Because they don't sing. But after a few drinks, what happens is that they think they can sing.
Quite strategic you are.
Quite strategic, but they think they can sing too. So I myself is trying to struggle, like trying to swim in the water, always going down, right? Then this friend who after a few drinks says, okay, my partner Jiju is struggling with the microphone, so let me help him out, right? After a few drinks. So comes over, puts the hand over the shoulder, and we all start singing together as a duet, right? It's like a one discordant note on top of another discordant note. It becomes like an orchestra of discordant notes, right? Then the people suffer, right?
Yes.
So the best thing for those kind of occasions is that when you invite your audience friends or groupies for karaoke, don't actually give them hardcore alcohol, right? So just mix some water onto it, dilute it, right? And give it to them saying, here, take it, this is a cocktail.
Hey,
right?
Jiju, I think a fine desi tongue that is, can tell the difference between you just watered something down and you gave it to them.
Not a cocktail? That's not a cocktail?
That doesn't count as a cocktail. I'll take one sip and I'll say,
Why do you
Jiju
say
wants
that?
to hog up the mic. He
Okay.
wants to,
Groupies,
get loose
I
and
need-
have this groupie
Yeah.
thingy, whatever you said, going on. And then you're giving me watered down drinks.
Cocktail, I said. It's water and alcohol.
Got it.
Isn't that what cocktail is? Why do you think like that? It is not a cocktail.
Well, I think I am a cocktail enthusiast
You are.
myself. I love making different concoctions,
I see.
especially the ones with some fun desi flavors mixed into it.
Okay.
People may have commonly heard about, say, old-fashioned. That's a
Old-fashioned,
common
yeah.
cocktail that
We
you
all
hear.
like
Or
old-fashioned.
mojitos,
Okay.
very popular. Pina colada if you're on the beach to have some.
Absolutely.
So what I like to do is add Indian flavors to it, and like the
Okay.
Indian spices. We have open your masala box and you'll have your whole playground.
The whole one, yeah. Like 20 of them.
Right. Or, ginger, cardamom,
Okay.
and there is pepper. So many interesting spices that we can mix.
Interesting.
So to add to your strategy, Jiju,
Okay. I have a strategy.
don't
Thank
yeah,
you.
looks like you do.
Okay.
You're talking about it.
I like that. When you say like that, I
चढ़ा
like
दिया
that.
इसको मैंने. But what I'll say is don't add water,
Okay.
add spices to that.
Acha. So that becomes a desi cocktail.
Desi cocktail.
Okay.
So, I've been trying out a few new cocktails this spring.
Oh, you have been trying out.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about or share those details? Looks like you've gone through it, you tested it out, and
Yes.
people loved it. I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
So why don't you share some with our audience?
Oh, I'll be happy to. In fact,
can?
I have a few things to show as well.
Okay.
So as a bartendress or an amateur bartendress, if I may say that, with desi flavored
Desi
cocktails.
flavor, yes.
This is probably a most essential tool to have
What is- oh, this
in
is
your
the-
kitchen. It's a shaker. It's a
Okay.
cocktail shaker. So it has these strainer-like thingies at the bottom. So you can add stuff to it, close it, shake it, and then you can make your drink. So
Okay.
certainly a very important tool to have.
Important tool. That's a hourglass? What is it?
You could pass
You
for an
could be,
hourglass. This is
okay.
actually called a jigger.
Oh, Jane Jigar Jane Man. Is that the same jigger or some other jigger? Similar.
You could say you could sing that song when you use it.
Okay.
Maybe this is actually used to measure the cocktail proportions.
I see.
this
So you
is
measure-
half a measure. This is one measure. It's about 1 ounce.
Oh, I never knew that you have to measure alcohol before putting into the glass. You have to measure
You
it?
don't want to end up drunk.
Okay.
So chemistry. That's
Chemistry, okay. Mm-hmm.
what excites me about cocktails actually. So this spring I have 2 fun cocktails to recommend to you
Okay.
and our audience here. One is called Mastani Maple Elaichi, and Vijay, if you can share the recipe video with the audience in a minute, I'll just explain the cocktail. First, where the Mastani Maple Elaichi
Okay.
cocktail, which is coming up
Oh, it's
on the
coming up.
screen right
Okay.
now.
What is it saying? It's okay.
It
Yes.
has bourbon whiskey in
Nice.
it. That's
Okay. I
that's
love
the
it.
main daru in that. And maple, of course, maple syrup, which I got inspired when I was in Vermont, which is also known for maple syrup making.
Okay.
Some fresh cardamom, that's the desiness there.
Cardamom.
And
What is
lime.
the Indian name for it? Cardamom?
Elaichi.
Elaichi. Okay.
That's the name.
Okay.
So cardamom and nimbu, and you can see the recipe on the proportions that you have to use
Okay.
to mix all these together. So certainly this tool here, the jigger,
Jigger.
Jane jigger, is very Jane jigger
Okay.
in making this cocktail.
Uh-huh.
And the dash of cardamom powder that the audience can see here will add a nice kick to it. It blends the sweetness of the maple syrup and the sourness of the lime, and just adds a fun flavor.
Oh wow, this is amazing! I think I'm going to try this out. But have you tried? Have you given this to men and women alike, and they enjoyed it?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, I have normally seen, generalizing, I love whiskey. I'm a whiskey gal,
Okay.
but women tend to prefer something more sweet.
Well, I also tend to prefer something sweet.
Okay,
Right?
so more maple syrup in that
yeah,
drink
whiskey,
for you.
I
then.
like whiskey, but what do we have it for me, right? Do I have a lighter drink that I can enjoy?
I have just the next drink that I would like to share. This is called Nimbu Ginger. What's it called? Nimbu Ginger Honeymoon.
Honeymoon?
That's my own name, so I had to think a little bit to come up
so
with
that
that.
doesn't mean that you need to be in honeymoon.
No,
Okay.
but guess what's in there? Nimbu Ginger Honeymoon.
So ginger is
Quite a
there,
giveaway.
honey is there,
Uh-huh.
and moon cannot be there.
Yes.
Moon sen can be there, but okay. So ginger and honey is what I would think. Plus gin, maybe gin.
Gin? Oh, he's a smart guy.
I'm a smart guy?
For
Okay.
once, you've impressed me, Jiju.
Okay.
Wow. So this has gin in it. It's a gin-based drink.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So lighter, sweeter. Honey, of course. So again, Nimbu Ginger Honeymoon is coming up
Okay.
right on screen. Thanks,
All right.
Vijay,
That's coming
for
up. Okay.
sharing that recipe with the audience through
10
this
minutes.
video.
Okay. Does it take 10 minutes or just saying?
I think the 10 minutes is primarily because you have to make a honey syrup, which is super
see.
easy.
Okay.
Just add equal parts of honey and equal parts of water. Mix it up with a little bit of heat so that the honey melts.
Okay.
So you can use that concoction. In fact, you can use that concoction instead of simple syrup, which
I
is
see.
sugar
Okay,
syrup.
I
So
got it.
honey is a
It's
better
much more healthier, I think, right?
healthier. And it has ginger in it. So that's a desi flavored
Ginger
spice.
spice, okay.
Like I think the honey, ginger, and the nimbu, the
Okay,
lime
okay.
combination adds a nice, maybe a COVID-friendly feel
Oh,
to
COVID
it.
friendly. Okay, so this is what I've heard of it, right? Ginger and honey and nimbu
Yeah.
can be a good immunity enhancer,
Yes.
booster, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're giving a drinks that could increase the immunity, right? And honey is healthy.
Yes.
So basically, it's a healthy drink, but it's still alcoholic drink.
Alcoholic.
Okay, just
Yeah,
wanted
we are
to.
not promoting alcoholic drinking
No.
or consumption or any brand that you see in here. None of these are promoted. This is just my own creations that I do at home, and this show does not promote
Absolutely.
or take any liability towards.
But again, I mean, it's always good to know what are my choices.
Yes.
If I'm drinking, let's say, these kind of drinks,
Yes.
what are my choices to make it more desi?
Absolutely.
Right? That's what this show is all about.
Yes.
We're talking about everything and anything about desis, and here, desi drinks also. right?
Exactly. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
And that actually brings us to picture of the month.
Oh my God, again.
Which is actually connected
Okay.
to cocktails.
So you have a picture of the month connected to cocktail?
Yes. So Vijay, if you can put up picture of the month on the screen here.
Okay.
The picture of the month for this episode 3 of the Rave Show is a picture from the movie Cocktail. It's a 2012 movie, so I
Okay.
couldn't help use that
Bring
since we're
that up.
talking about
Okay, that
Cocktail.
makes sense.
And the question for the audience of this 2012 movie Cocktail is name the main hero of this movie, which you can see on the screen, but it's hard to identify.
Hard to identify.
Jiju, any thoughts or any
So
clues?
since I know about this movie, the
Yeah.
only clue I will give is that he is the son of a famous Indian cricket captain.
Captain.
So there are three: Indian,
generous with
cricket,
clues.
captain. So actually, it's a good clue. People who have been our viewers and audience who are cricket lovers who are following, and cinema lovers also, movie lovers. Immediately they will get it.
Got it. Yeah, it's a very good clue, but a very
good clue.
generous clue.
Generous, right? I am very
captain,
generous.
Former or current?
Former. It has to be former.
Yes, that's true.
It has to be former.
Yeah. So there we go. That's the picture of the month. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. But first, we have the live guest for our show. The live guest today on the Rave Show is Ramya Sundaresan Kapadia.
Oh.
She's an artist based right here in Tennessee,
Okay.
in USA, and quite an accomplished artist. Specifically Bharatnatyam, she's certainly a very famous dancer. She is the founder of Natyarpana School of Dance.
Okay.
And she's also affiliated with Prakriti School of Dance for audience who are in the DC, Virginia area. Prakriti School of Dance is right here in Maryland. So welcome our live guest, Ramya Sundaresan Kapadia, to the Rave Show.
Oh, welcome, Ramya.
दिल धड़कने का सबब याद आया, दिल धड़कने का सबब याद आया, वो तेरी याद थी, वो तेरी याद थी, अब याद आया, दिल धड़कने का सबब याद आया.
Oh, beautiful, mesmerizing.
Beautiful. So beautiful. We kind of thought of listening to it again and again. And
Yes, it's
sit there like
very. I love the rag in this. It's very unique the way it sort of flows. So thank you for that lovely rendition, Ramya.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. Welcome to the Rave Show. And it's truly our privilege to have you, such an accomplished artist, on this show today. And speaking of which, I'm sure Jiju and I would love to know, and our audience as well, about your artistic journey in the USA.
So my artistic journey in the United States actually began in Wisconsin, where I met you, Soumya. Wisconsin, Madison, where I was a grad student. When I met my dance teacher, Kripa Bhaskaran, as I continued learning Bharatanatyam from her, I was also assisting in teaching Bharatanatyam, but I'd always sung back in India as well. And so I continued singing and I continued teaching both privately as well as in the continuing ed program at UW-Madison. I was also involved with a lot of graduate student association things, as I'm sure most students are. And that really helped with understanding, curation, the media and the publicity that goes along with anything related to the arts, as well as performing itself, right? So all the different aspects that were related to performance and the presentation of the arts, I had a great experience. And then when I moved to North Carolina in 2008, the plan was to write my resume and apply for a job in either medical physics or in neuroscience. But I ended up going on tour to sing for Rama Vaidyanathan, who's a really, really well-known dancer. And that opened up a whole new, set of doors. And I never looked back. And I was very fortunate. I just continued. I never wrote that resume.
It always happens, right?
Yeah. And so life took a completely different turn, and I just dived into the arts.
That's amazing. I'm so humbled to hear that you followed your passion. Yes, clearly I do remember, Ramya, your performances at the IGSA, the Indian Graduate Students Association events back in Wisconsin.
Oh, really? You remember all those things?
Oh, of course. She's made a mark.
So was she very famous where you studied? I did hear some chemistry between you two. So were you very famous at that time? Was she famous at that time?
Well, I didn't
Dancing-wise?
know much about Ramya at that time, but I did know that she was an amazing singer, and
I can hear
I
that.
do remember that she was very passionate about dancing as well. So certainly.
So Ramya said, and you probably would have witnessed that, you're a Bharatanatyam exponent, right? If I want to call it that way. What about, I mean, you probably would have thought the same thing, right? There are many other forms of dance, right? Like Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Mohiniyattam, because I come from Kerala, Odissi and things like that. So how come this love for Bharatanatyam? I'm sure that people would want to know.
So that's a really very good question, and I think the way I approach dance or even music really speaks a lot about my whole background of growing up in Bombay, right? So I was introduced. The first dance form that I was introduced to as a way of learning was Bharatanatyam, and so that form kind of just stuck, and I just stuck with it. Just like for singing, I was introduced to Carnatic music, right, as a form of training, and so then I just stuck with it. But growing up in Bombay gave me the opportunity to both be a part of, to learn, as well as to just be to experience various forms of dance and various forms of music. And I had friends that were deeply involved in all of these different forms. So that has always influenced me. So when I put together a show or create any of my own works, I don't think in terms of Bharatanatyam, or I don't think in terms of Carnatic music. I just think in terms of, like the story that I want to present. And so the best language, the best music, or the best form of dance or movement. So I just think of it in terms of theater and a story that needs to be told that will make the most sense to both me as well as to the audience.
That makes sense. So that is interesting. But at the same time, the ghazal that she sang, it was like put me in a trance, right? So I know, Ramya, everybody watching this show also knows that you are a very good Carnatic singer, and you just mentioned that also because of your training. But at the same time, I know because of the research that we have done, you've done some popular singing also, popular music singing
Bollywood
also.
singing?
Bollywood singing also. Also
Yes.
some other non-Bollywood movie singing, right? You've done playback singing. And I know for this fact, and I like popular music, I know that the 90s, she has sung with the 90s heartthrob, Lucky Ali. In Kaho Na Pyar Hai,
Yes.
right? These are things that I want to bring it out.
He's done his research clearly.
How did that happen from Carnatic music to ghazal? I understand it's like semi-classical. Then you go to popular music and then Lucky Ali kind of song. How did that happen?
So again, like I said, Bombay, right?
I see.
Bombay made it all happen. In the Carnatic world, the time that I was growing up, we had a very closed set of friends that were all Carnatic musicians. They either sang or played the violin, mandolin, variety of percussion instruments. And a lot of them, more than me, I would say, were actively involved in, like bands. They would play with jazz musicians.
I see.
And they would play for ads, and there was a lot. They were very, very creative group. And so through one of them, Vivek Rajagopalan, who's he's an amazing mridangam artist. He used to play in Lucky Ali's band. And of course, we would all tag along, right? The rest of us would. It was a group of friends, and we all just kind of hopped from place to place together. So we tagged along, and that's how I got to know Lucky Ali. And when he was asked to do a couple of songs for the movie, he just said, "I'm bringing in my own band," and then they needed a female voice, and so he asked if I could sing, and that's how that came about.
It's not just a movie. Kaho Na Pyar Hai. Hrithik Roshan,
Yes.
right, is one of the
Amisha Patel.
Amisha Patel, yeah.
Yes.
So it is one of the major. You
And
were
it's a
lucky.
lovely song too.
Yeah.
Natum Janu Naham.
There you go.
So lovely. That's a great
Amazing.
story there.
Thanks for sharing.
Of course.
Well, so you mentioned singing, Carnatic music, classical, Bollywood singing. You also mentioned Bharatnatyam and as well as broader dance choreography and communicating feelings and thoughts through dance. On the Rave Show, we love to know about all aspects of our guests. So what else do you do besides these amazing things, Ramya?
Yeah.
So more and more, I think. I mean, you brought about a really good point. Communication. I think that's what. I mean, that's what your show is doing, and that's what all art or anything that we do in life is all about, right? And how you communicate. So I'm very interested in using the techniques of dance and music that I have been trained in and have been practicing to develop these forms of self-expression in children and adults, especially those with disability. So that's one aspect. The other thing that I have been involved in and has been very closely related to any of the work that I do is Samskrita Bharati. So the study of Sanskritam, as the revival of Sanskritam as a spoken language, and then teaching it to children. So that takes up a huge chunk of my life. And more recently, I would say some painting. I've been getting back to the visual art side that I've always wanted to.
You can see that over there.
Yes.
Is that a mural that you painted? Or? Okay.
Yes, that is a mural in the Varli style.
I see.
It's a tribal style from Maharashtra.
Oh, nice.
And this, I cannot take credit for it all by myself, but I owe a huge thanks to my partner and collaborator Sampada Agarwal, who I just went. She's a fantastic artist in many styles of art, and I was taking workshops with her. A grant opportunity came up, and I asked her if she was interested. And we brainstormed with the people who were awarding the grant, and we came up with this idea of just talking about the history of Durham through a mural. And yeah, that's how that happened.
That's beautiful.
It's amazing, and what a great way to bring our Indian aspects, the Varli art form, that's a tribal art form, to centerpiece in Raleigh, Durham. So kudos to you, Ramya.
Desiness was brought to USA, right?
Yes.
Through a singer, Bharatanatyam, dancer,
an artist.
What more I don't know. So that's where I'm going there, okay? So, so I'm watching this, right? We have limited time also, so I have so many questions, but this I want to ask.
Yes, please do. He always has some.
I always have some questions, right? So, I heard you being a dancer. I have no questions about it, Carnatic singing and dancing, and then you referred about your Bollywood singing also. So one aspect that you're not touched upon, maybe you will get into this is what I want to ask you. Any time in the future, maybe immediate future or the long-term future, are you going to become a Bollywood actress?
Oh, big question. While awkward is what I'd say. But hey, we all go with bucket lists, right? I have a long bucket list of things to do. This is on it.
This is on it? Oh, amazing. Great. So that's a positive note, right? So we can probably see you in a Kahona Pyar Hai number 2. I don't know if that's what's it called?
Part 2?
Part 2. If there is, then I probably could see you singing and acting in it, right? As a heroine, right? But so
get on
Ramya,
it right away.
Ramya, it has been so great talking to you. Right, we have limited time here, as you know, but we would like to talk to you in another of our episodes coming up. But thank you for taking time to share your personal journey as well as your artistic journey with us, and wishing you the best in everything that you do.
Thank you, Ramya. Thank you for coming on the Rave Show. Pleasure talking to you again.
Thank you. Wow, that was amazing.
Inspiring.
Now I need to do something. This is like 4 or 5 skill sets in one single person, right?
Yes, and true dedication to arts. commend that.
And the painting at the end,
Yes.
right? And she's going to become a Bollywood actress also. Possibly.
Absolutely. Well, moving on, we asked the audience a question before we brought our very artistic and
Guest, yeah.
guest, an inspiring guest, Ramya. The question from the picture of the month was identify the hero from this 2012 Hindi movie
Okay.
Cocktail.
Okay, do we have responses?
Let's see if anybody from the audience
So-
have responded.
I think the answer Arjun Tendulkar will not work because Sachin is not that old. And who else is there? So any other good answers coming?
Well, let's see. I'm looking at who answered first.
Okay. Rohan Gavaskar is also not an answer.
I see a couple of responses here. I see one from my namesake, Soumya Padmanabhan,
Oh,
who
okay.
says Saif Ali Khan. I see Sudhir saying Saifu Bhaiya.
Okay.
And
Bhai or
let's
Bhai,
see.
maybe. I don't know.
And I see Anu
Oh, okay.
saying Saif Ali Khan as well.
So a lot of good answers coming up.
Good answers.
So let me ask you, is that the right answer?
Yes,
It is,
Saif
okay.
Ali Khan. Yes, thanks for reminding me. I should be telling the right answer.
So congrats to-
Not Tendulkar guy, but
Not Gavaskar also. Not Rohan Gavaskar. So congratulations to all who answered right. And special gifts are coming to you at some point, right? We are, definitely.
definitely. For now, thank you for participating. And our phone lines will be open shortly through Discord. Again, if you are interested to call into the show, please go to REVELAGiA Facebook channel and you
see.
should see a link that you can click to get on the phone line.
So are you saying that our audience can call in now? Is that what you're saying?
They can start.
They can start calling.
But I would
Okay.
like to see some of these really interesting comments that that people have posted here
Okay.
on the live chat here. So let's see.
So interesting means to be really needs to be interesting though, right? Are they talking about what we discussed, or is it a question that they're asking us?
Let's see. I see some. Let me pick a few. There are so many to choose from.
Right. Pick, just choose one, just like.
Let's see. I see.
The hard choice, isn't it? There's so many
Very
comments,
hard.
right? So I would rather pick up the first one.
So Sudhir says Yogi ji celebrated Holi at Gorakhpur,
I see.
adding to the awesome colorful win.
Okay.
That I'm guessing he's referring to Yogi ji.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Holi is something that we started referring,
Yes.
right? Holi. So Holi has been very dear to many
Yes.
people in the United States, right?
Yes.
I mean, when I say Desi people in the United States.
Right.
So it makes sense, yeah.
Absolutely.
Any other great comments?
Any other? The audience have some nice suggestions for the cocktail names. One has suggested Fire and Ice instead of
Fire and ice.
the Mastani Maple Elaichi.
Okay.
Maybe the fire is from the bourbon and ice is from the ice.
It's like
I
a
suppose.
blow cold and hot at the same time. Is that similar to that?
Something like
Something
that.
like that. Okay.
Nimbu ginger honeymoon can pass for bhang for your holy party.
So everything is going back to Holi, right? So this is good.
Yes. And there's also certainly a lot of appreciation for Ramya and her wonderful story
Okay.
that she shared.
I mean, obviously there is a lot of things to be talked about in Ramya, right? Because
Yes.
the talent, as I said, like 4 or 5 talents packaged in one person,
Yes.
is definitely deserves a lot of compliments
Absolutely.
and kudos. So are the calls coming in now, or so?
And there's also one last comment, since you mentioned you're from Kerala.
Okay.
Would love to hear about
Let me hear.
Ayurvedic treatments available in Kerala. Maybe on something we pick for a future show.
Yes, but by the way, that is good because I can go on forever on the Ayurvedic treatments, right? And people from even Hollywood stars, they go to Kerala
Yes.
and do Ayurvedic treatments.
Yes.
But let me also point out that there are very good Ayurvedic treatment centers. When I say treatment, it is not considered as a treatment in USA, but there are centers, Ayurvedic centers in USA, in Virginia, by the way, that you can take avail of, right? So there are names that you can search for them, and they are available there.
Yeah.
They are not classified as a medical treatment, but
Yeah.
still it supplements to your existing treatment. So
Gotcha.
obviously, it's a great point.
Yeah, something we can probably cover in the future.
definitely.
Show, since you seem to be the known, claimed expert in
I'm
that.
not an expert, but it's health related, so I definitely can
Yes,
talk about that.
absolutely. Great. So those are the key comments from the audience. And Vijil, do we have any phone calls from the audience as of now?
Okay, so true. So a lot of calls. I mean, Discord app, right? So that's having that's an app you have to register and then make a call. It's not just like picking up a phone and calling, right? So you have to go through a process to get there, which is good. That way we can screen the callers and they're also
Exactly.
secure.
Since we are doing this live, I think it's very important that we go through that extra step of
Definitely.
screening
So-
the callers. Yeah.
So that is one thing. So again, we talk about celebrations. Holi is definitely something that I like to celebrate with the colors on your face and bhang, if it's possible. Bhang is another cocktail, by the way.
Yes,
Right.
I should think about that name and
Yes,
create my own in the future. Absolutely.
Someone who said it
Good
makes
idea.
sense. I think
Yes.
we should reward him. But celebrations are what make Desis in USA
Yes,
unique,
yes.
right? Every day, every month, we have a celebration.
Yes.
So the next few celebrations that are coming up, what are they? I know for sure that since I'm from Kerala, I know Vishu is coming up in April, right?
Sure, yes.
Since I have a lot of Punjabi friends, I know Baisakhi is also coming up.
And may I add Yugadi in Karnataka?
There you go, Yugadi and Bihu. I think it's
Bihu,
Assamese, right?
yes,
Because
Assamese.
Vishu and Bihu sound similar.
Yes.
Those are. What are these about? These are about New Year celebrations.
New Year!
Indian New Year
Yes,
celebrations, right?
Absolutely.
So are these the only things happening during April, or is there anything else?
I think there are others happening too. I think Good Friday is in April, I think.
Okay, Good Friday.
As well as Easter.
Easter.
is part of. But speaking of New Year, I was thinking, if you made any New Year resolutions, Jiju, I know you.
So
for
again,
one may
New Year
have,
resolution?
You can. This is your second chance to revise or make some adjustments to it. So here's your chance to.
So what I try to do is that with the New Year, I try to not even go there, making a resolution. Right now, you're giving me another opportunity, or put me on spot again to make a
Well,
resolution.
you can start with trying some of those new cocktail recipes. That's a place to
So
start.
try those 2 cocktails. I would recommend, highly recommend, and of course, and we are going to try this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So not any new resolutions, but I think our resolution should be we should talk about and celebrate how our audience are going to celebrate Vishu, Bihu, Baishakhi,
Ugadi.
Easter, Ugadi, Easter, and
Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Yes,
Good Friday, and okay, sounds good. So that's what I think the resolution should be. Let's celebrate them, bring them back to our show next time, right? With pictures. If you can send us pictures of your celebration, even Holi, send us. We will put that in our website, Facebook, and we'll also talk about it. If you have a question or if you want to talk about your celebrations, let's do that also. You can call in.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of New Year and spring, so calls for a celebration.
Yes.
Kuch gana ho jaye?
Yeah, you start. Let me see. I brought some guitar here, which I don't know if it's work or not, but we'll give it a try.
Okay.
What song do you have in mind?
I'm thinking this movie from Dear Zindagi. Alia Bhatt is in that
Dear
movie.
Zindagi.
So it's called Jo Dil Se Lage.
Let me see. Is that right?
Yes, perfect. जो दिल से लगे उसे कह दो हाय 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 जो दिल ना लगे उसे कह दो बाय 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 आने दो दिल में आ जाने दो कह दो मुस्कुराहट को हाय 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 जाने दो दिल से चले जाने दो कह दो घबराहट को बाय 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 बाय
Love me zindagi, love me zindagi,
love you zindagi love me zindagi
something like that.
Fantastic! Wow, मेरे दिल की बात तूने reality कर दी.
So I did not. I kind of heard this song before, But when you started singing, then this "Love Me Zindagi" kind of
Yes.
thing came, because that's the only thing that caught my attention, because that's beautiful. You gotta celebrate your life, right?
Yes.
That "Love Me Zindagi" and "Love You Zindagi" also. Lyrics I did not follow, but when you started singing it, it just came to me, and I hope I just went along with
Oh
you.
yeah, you did good. Yes, I approve it.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Well, I think that's probably the time we have for today.
That's the time we have. So Zindagi cannot be extended more
Cheers
at this
to-
time, right?
yes.
So, like Soumya said, that's all the time we have, and we would like to hear from our audience, right? Our viewers. So one way of doing it, as we had mentioned before, is to use the YouTube comments as well as the Facebook comments also. And if you feel that you want to add more, please use the Discord app, right? Use that, and you can call in anytime, and it's live, all live. There is not recorded or anything like that. You can talk to us, right? So we know that we would want to hear from you, and we can possibly do more that actually interests you as a Desi in the United States, right? So till we meet next time, I am jijunair.
And Soumya, keep raving. Come back to our show, and namaste.
Namaste.